Well, much cooler day today across central Illinois, but at least it is dry across the area, and the sun is back out. As you can see on our Flooring America Weather.net in Danville. Nice day, looks good, but it's just cold outside, okay? Those winds are also present with us as well. As we take a look at what to expect as we go throughout tonight, well, these clouds are going to remain out of here, which means temperatures are going to drop. 45, that's the current reading in Champaign and in Springfield. But we're going down to the 20s for overnight lows. We're going to be down near freezing by 11 o'clock. No precipitation. The winds finally calm down. We've got some cold we're going to be dealing with over the next few days. We'll talk about how things really recover for the weekend. You're going to love that part to the forecast. The show today coming up. WCIA 3 News starts right now.
Now on WCIA 3 News.
A group is paying tribute to a trooper killed in a crash. How many of you came out to help?
And also tonight, Pfizer says its vaccine is safe and effective for younger teens. But will that impact where your kids learn? And still waiting on your stimulus check when those on Social Security will see that money.
You're watching your local news leader. This is WCIA 3 News at 5.
Just an honor to be involved in it and help the community show our support for the family.
Strangers are using their hands and hearts today to honor the life of a state trooper. Good evening, I'm Jennifer Roscoe. Paul is off tonight. About 100 people came out to put up flags throughout the village of Mount Zion. WCIA 3's Bryce Beament is live from that town. Now, Bryce, the people out there today, some of them didn't even know Todd Hanneken.
Yeah, yes, like you said, about 100 people were out here today. Some say they didn't even know Trooper Hanneken or his family, but they just wanted to show support. And last week, Trooper Todd Hanneken died in a crash. He actually collided into a tree. He was brought to a funeral home in Mount Zion. Members of the community are hoping to put up over 2,000 flags. One organization brought the community together and supplied the flags.
It ain't about us. We don't put up the flags. The community puts up flags. We organize the community and bring a community together so that they have a way to show their respect.
The flags will be on the route from the funeral home to the cemetery in Long Creek. They hope this act will show support for Hanneken and his family. Now, the funeral service will be here at Mount Zion Intermediate School at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. In Mount Zion, I'm Bryce Beament, WCIA 3, your local news leader.
Definitely a show of support right there behind you. Bryce, thank you so much. There was a fire at a yard waste disposal site in Mattoon today. It happened near Logan Street and Shelby Avenue this afternoon. The Journal-Gazette and Times-Courier reports crews are fighting at least 2 separate fires. One pile of yard waste was totally up in flames, while fire crews were hosing down a larger one that was partly on fire. 6 people were arrested and charged in Springfield for gang-related gun violence. The Sangamon County State's Attorney says these 6 people are all facing at least 10 years in prison if they are found guilty. WCIA 3's Cole Hankey is live now in our Capitol newsroom. Now, Cole, they are hoping this makes a difference in stopping the gun violence that has been plaguing that city.
Yeah, that's right. These 6 arrests today were part of the crackdown that we're seeing from Springfield Police on the city's growing gun violence problem. And Springfield Police Chief Kenny Winslow says that the majority of his officers have been reassigned to help investigate a growing number of shootings across the city. His staff is already down nearly 30 officers, and the rest, which normally could be spending their time working cases like property theft, are now casing the scene of the latest shooting. Although the increased police response has resulted in some arrests, Winslow said that so far it's not enough.
We know right now there's not a fear of carrying firearms in our community, and that's not a fault of the state's attorney or any, the police department. It's just that there isn't. We live in a society of second and third opportunities, and the legislation that we've seen over the last several years has had an effect on law enforcement.
Winslow said that witnesses are often afraid to give any information about a crime. They fear for their own safety if they start to talk. Winslow said that culture of not talking to police needs to change. And State's Attorney Dan Wright said that in order for him to charge cases like the ones he did today, he also needs people to start talking to police in order to build his case. Jennifer.
And that's not just a problem in Springfield. It's in cities across central Illinois. All right, Cole, thank you so much. Yep. Now, Springfield has seized 61 guns so far this year. They've made 31 firearm-related arrests. There have been 23 people shot in the city this year alone. 3 people have been killed. We have an update for you on a lawsuit accusing a school district of ignoring sexual abuse on a school bus. The victim's lawyers have sent the complaint to the Blue Ridge School District. It says the bus driver, aides, and district ignored sexual harassment and abuse of a 7-year-old girl with Down syndrome by a 14-year-old boy. The district says, quote, the safety of all students is our utmost concern, but can't comment further. Blue Ridge hasn't responded directly to the victim's lawyers yet. Right now, the Champaign School District is asking families to decide if their kids will learn in person or remotely next fall. But new information about the Pfizer vaccine could make a difference in how they choose. WCIA 3's Jen Lask live in our newsroom. So, Jen, Pfizer just announced its vaccine is safe and effective for kids as young as 12. How would that change things?
Well, Jennifer, some parents may feel more comfortable now sending their kids back to school if their kids have been vaccinated. Champaign Superintendent Susan Zola says she thinks vaccinations for kids could be a factor in what families decide to do in the fall. But the district will need to be respectful of anyone who needs more time to make a decision. Zola has been working with the incoming superintendent on this distance learning program. It'll be different than the current remote learning setup because students will have their own sets of teachers and programs. Zola says she thinks the program could even extend beyond the pandemic because some students have actually done better on these virtual platforms.
So to continue to offer that option for those families and students who may have a medical need or just may do better in that space, I think is one of those lessons learned. So it'll be interesting to see beyond next year if that's something that still becomes of interest to our community.
Zola says the more information the district has by May 1st, the easier it'll be to figure out how many staff need to be assigned to the distance learning program. This program is supposed to be a full-year program. However, the district says that parents will have a chance to revisit those decisions at the end of the fall semester, depending on how much space is available in the spring. Back to you.
You know, Jen, it's so interesting because we've only been talking about kids who are doing worse if they're learning at home remotely, and she said that some kids are thriving in that environment.
Yeah, she said it's definitely going to be something that they take as a lesson learned in the pandemic, that there are different ways that kids are learning better, and they're going to look at those options as they move forward.
Okay, thank you so much. Auburn is the only public school district left in our area that's totally remote. Half of all school districts in Illinois are offering blended learning right now. Fewer than 5% are still remote only. About 45% are back to in-person learning. There's a new plan to guide school districts on how to spend billions with a B of federal dollars. The Illinois public schools could see up to $7 billion in the American Rescue Plan over the next 3 years to help recover from COVID-19. The governor encouraged districts to set up tutoring, after-school programs, and summer camps. Springfield superintendent hopes to use some of the money to improve ventilation in classrooms to get as many kids back in class as soon as possible.
I just don't think we're having as much face-to-face contact with students as we'd like to have. Even in a remote setting, it's hard for a student to have concentration on a screen for that long throughout the day.
Springfield schools will get $107 million in federal dollars, $76 million for Decatur, $39 million for Champaign, $21 million for Urbana, and $15 million headed to Mattoon. Here's an update. If you're on Social Security, there's now a date when you'll be getting your stimulus check. The IRS says you can expect to get that money by next Wednesday. Checks going out this weekend. This also includes other federal beneficiaries. Taking a look at today's COVID numbers statewide, nearly 17% of the population is now fully vaccinated in Illinois. A total of 5.8 million shots have been given. 137,000 of those were given out yesterday. The daily average is 109,000. The state is reporting nearly 2,600 new cases, 28 more people have died. The 7-day positivity rate is holding at 3.9%. From your local election headquarters now, Election Day is less than a week away, and one race in Arcola is unlike any other the city has seen before. That's because there are 4 people running for mayor. Usually somebody just runs unopposed. We talked to neighbors today. They say they want the person they elect to help rebuild businesses and fix sidewalks. And they're happy to have a variety of candidates to choose from.
I guess that's a good selection, and they're kind of from all different walks of life. I have my mind made up, but, you know, I can see where some of the others would be okay, too.
Candidates say they'll continue their outreach the rest of the week. The election is, of course, on Tuesday. Here's an update from Hume. A broken telephone pole has been fixed. We showed it to you after leaning dangerously for days. The mayor says an emergency order to replace it was issued after we did a story last night. Thursday night storms had shifted the pole, leaving it leaning over one woman's home. It was rusting on power lines and was a safety risk. She reached out to the company to fix it, but hadn't heard back. Video is playing a big role in the trial over George Floyd's death, what happened in the moments leading up to the deadly arrest. Plus, it's part of a disturbing trend since the start of the pandemic, who was arrested for attacking an Asian American woman this week.